Chosen one, pause for a moment before you scroll, before you doubt why this appeared in front of you, before you dismiss this as just another message. God says you must hear this now because something we believed for a long time was incomplete. And today, heaven is correcting it. You were told that being chosen means everything becomes easy. You were told that once God marks you, doors open instantly. You were told that favor looks like applause, comfort, and visible success. But chosen one, we were wrong. God never said being chosen would be comfortable. He said it would be purposeful. You were not chosen to blend in. You were not chosen to be understood by everyone. You were not chosen to live a quiet, unnoticed life where nothing challenges you. You were chosen to carry weight, and weight shapes the soul. God says many of you watching this felt confused because you did everything right, yet things still fell apart. You prayed, but the answer delayed. You stayed faithful, but people walked away. You stayed kind, but were misunderstood. You stayed patient, but doors closed instead of opening. And you asked silently, God, did I hear you wrong? No, you heard him clearly. We just misunderstood the process. Chosen one, hear this truth clearly. God does not choose people to escape pressure. He chooses them to withstand it. That is why your life looks different. Others collapse under trials, you quietly endure. Others run when tested, you stayed even when it hurt. Others compromised to survive, you refused even when it cost you. That resistance you feel is not punishment, it is confirmation. God says the enemy never fights what carries no future. You've wondered why you've felt isolated even in rooms full of people. Why conversations feel shallow, why old habits no longer satisfy, why your spirit feels restless, like you're being pulled forward but can't yet see where. That's because once God separates you, you can no longer live common. And here is where we were wrong. We thought God's silence meant absence, but silence is often instruction without distraction. God says he had to quiet the noise around you so you could hear the direction within you. Some relationships had to end not because they were evil, but because they were limiting. Some prayers were delayed, not because God ignored you, but because he was protecting you from answers you weren't ready to steward yet. Chosen one, God says, stop apologizing for outgrowing what once fit. You are not too much. You are becoming aligned. You are not losing people. You are being repositioned. You are not behind. You are being prepared privately. Many of you thought you were being punished when things slowed down, but heaven says slow down was surgery. God was removing dependence on people, validation, timelines, and outcomes. So when the blessing arrives, it won't break you. Because here is the truth no one tells the chosen. Blessings without maturity become burdens. God says if he gave you everything you asked for last year, it would have crushed you. The delay saved you. Chosen one, this is the part we misunderstood the most. God doesn't elevate based on talent. He elevates based on obedience under pressure. That's why he allowed misunderstanding. That's why he allowed betrayal. That's why he allowed loneliness, not to break you, but to strip you of needing approval. You don't need to be believed right now. You need to be built. You don't need recognition yet. You need refinement. God says you are entering a season where clarity replaces confusion, but only if you stop trying to explain yourself to people who were never meant to walk with you into the next chapter. Chosen one, you've been carrying guilt for resting, guilt for stepping back, guilt for saying no. God says release that guilt. Rest is not weakness. Boundaries are not disobedience. Saying no is sometimes the most spiritual decision you can make, because your energy is currency, and God is teaching you how to invest it wisely. You were chosen to see what others ignore. You were chosen to feel deeply. You were chosen to discern truth beneath appearances. That's why fake environments exhaust you. That's why surface-level conversations drain you. That's why your spirit craves meaning, not noise. God says stop forcing yourself to fit where you were never designed to function. You were built for impact, not popularity. And now, listen carefully. This next part is crucial. God says the reason the enemy attacked your identity first is because identity determines destiny. If he could confuse who you are, he could delay where you're going. But the delay is ending. God says you are stepping into a season where things begin to make sense backward. You will look at what hurt you and realize it shaped you. You will see why certain doors never opened. You will finally understand why God said no when you begged for yes. Chosen one. Heaven says restaurati.